What the? Hey! No!
On February 12, 2023, Officer Kyle Howe of the Toledo Police Department detained and physically assaulted a couple without any apparent justification. Officer Howe spotted a speeding vehicle on the highway and pursued it with his emergency lights activated. After pulling over the driver, Mr. Romero, Officer Howe alleged that he was driving above the legal speed limit.
Good evening.
Good evening.
What's the hurry tonight?
Nothing. I just picked up my girlfriend from work.
Okay. Do you know how fast you were going?
75 maybe.
Okay. I do at 77. You got your driver's license, insurance?
I do.
Despite Mr. Romero's compliance in providing his identification, Officer Howe also requested the passenger's ID, although it was not legally required.
Okay. Does she have an ID?
She does.
Sorry.
She might
You
not.
use my
This is my son.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. You
I just picked her up from work.
Yeah.
Officer Howe asked Mr. Romero to step out of the vehicle, and he complied. Officer Howe noticed something fall out of the vehicle as Mr. Romero stepped out, and he proceeded to handcuff him, claiming it was drug paraphernalia. Officer Howe informed Mr. Romero that he was being detained, not arrested, and asked him about his marijuana use.
What's that, partner?
I'm not sure what happened.
Okay. I'm going to say you turn and put your hands behind your back for me, okay?
Oh, really?
Yeah. $45 1 to 10. All right. Is that comfortable for you or not?
The laws surrounding marijuana use in Ohio are complex, but possessing less than 100 grams is considered a minor misdemeanor. Officer Howe then requested Mr. Romero to undergo a field sobriety test, which he willingly agreed to. However, Officer Howe then arrested Mr. Romero for driving with a barred license, indicating that his license had been previously suspended. The situation escalated when Officer Howe aggressively grabbed Mr. Romero, slammed him onto the patrol vehicle's hood, and threw him to the ground despite no signs of resistance. And then another officer arrived and unlawfully arrested the passenger, Miss Jasmine. Dash cam footage captured Officer Howe's use of excessive force and false accusations against Mr. Romero. Despite Mr. Romero's retaliation against the unjust treatment, Officer Howe continued to assault him.
Stop! Pussy! Stop!
Baby, please stop! Baby, please! Why are you pulling on me like that?
Miss Jasmine's arrest was also unjustified as she had not engaged in any wrongdoing. Both Mr. Romero and Miss Jasmine were ultimately arrested, but it is important to note that their violations of the law did not excuse the mistreatment they endured.
Pulling away from me and trying to kick me as it is.
Why did you hit me and slam me on the ground that many times?
Following an investigation into another incident involving Officer Howe, he resigned from the Toledo Police Department. The incident highlights concerns about the excessive use of force and the violation of individuals' rights during law enforcement encounters. In another incident, a driver who had committed no wrongdoing and violated no laws was pulled over by an officer who falsely claimed that the vehicle's tag was expired. The officer's true intentions became evident when he asked a question unrelated to the traffic stop, implying potential phone use while driving.
And another question, you just turned that on, right? Like, you didn't have that while you were driving?
No, I just
Okay.
turned it on. Yeah.
Okay.
Despite the driver providing the necessary documents, the officer insisted that the expired tag was the driver's responsibility and proceeded to issue a ticket.
Because
So-
it seems like a while, if the validation tag expired in December.
The driver repeatedly explained that the vehicle was a rental and that the responsibility for the tag's validity rested with the rental company.
Well, you call Enterprise. That's not my car. I don't know why you pulling me over.
However, the officer remained ignorant and refused to acknowledge the driver's explanation. To confirm his innocence, the driver requested permission to inspect the license plate himself, which revealed that the officer's allegations were entirely false. In a revealing moment, the officer admitted to running the license plate before initiating the traffic stop, indicating possible racial profiling.
That's
It is, you're the
enterprise.
driver.
No, that's not a problem. You call enterprise.
You're the driver.
This admission exposed the officer's misconduct and further highlighted the unjust treatment faced by the driver. The incident exemplifies the officer's disregard for the truth and raises concerns about potential bias and abuse of power within law enforcement.
See, you tell me the plate is expired. Can I go see?
Oh, it's my mistake.
That's your mistake.
That is my mistake.
Did you see because it's a black person?
No, stop it. No.
Look at mine. That's not
I didn't even see who was driving the car. I looked at the plates then.
Moving on to the next incident, a family was peacefully enjoying their time at a park when two police officers approached them without any apparent reason.
Hi.
What's up, guys?
The man recording the encounter immediately exercised his rights and requested the officers to identify themselves, which they complied with by providing their names and badge number.
How's it going? Who are you guys? Can you identify yourself, please?
When asked why they approached the family, the officers claimed that the family was yelling and screaming, an allegation that holds no legal significance, especially considering they were in a public park.
Please.
2301.
And you, sir?
Officer Weeks, Eagle Police Department.
Oh.
The family members calmly informed the officers that they were simply conversing and having a good time, emphasizing that their actions were not disrupting anyone else. However, the officers altered their allegations, now accusing the family of using profanity loudly, despite the fact that such behavior is not illegal.
I guess they're just yelling and screaming.
In response, the man recording the incident asserted his right to use profanity whenever he chose to do so. Recognizing that the officers had no valid reason for approaching them,
But we're just here enjoying ourselves right now.
the family members started to dismiss their presence. They indicated that they would pretend as if the officers were not even there.
So, my understanding, there's some cussing going on here.
I cuss,
There's
yeah.
a bunch of kids here,
Yep.
obviously. I think that's...
They're playing over in the playground. Yeah, of course I cuss. I cuss anytime I want to cuss. So if you don't like it, like, they don't like to hear what you want to say, then, I mean, you don't have to be here.
Just as it seemed the officers would finally leave the family alone, another police officer arrived on the scene, prolonging their presence. The family members, realizing the officers' persistence and unnecessary drama, firmly requested them to vacate their space and leave them in peace. Although the officers seemed dissatisfied with the lack of disturbance from the family, they eventually departed, realizing their attempts to provoke a reaction had been unsuccessful.
Oh, no, I'm talking to my people right now. There's another one coming up right now.
Do you have any weapons in the car or anything like that? Like a gun or anything?
I don't know what I don't even have a gun.
Okay.
I'm 19 years old. I ain't something talking. If this is gonna cause problems, and the truck's over there.
This is a 19-year-old man caught impersonating a deputy and conducting illegal traffic stops. On January 1st, 2023, the Choctaw Police Department got a complaint of a strange man driving an unmarked car and claiming to be a sheriff. According to the report, the individual stopped at least 2 vehicles in the Choctaw area while dressed in full police uniform, including a duty belt and a ballistic vest. Deputies from the Oklahoma County Sheriff's Office were called to investigate the situation and identify the culprit after a series of complaints. Soon later, 2 police approached the car as part of their investigation.
Cause problems, and the truck's over there. I'm just gonna take off the vest, and I'm from Tennessee. So
Okay. Why are you wearing the vest?
Like I said, I drove from all the way from Tennessee, but I'm not gonna have people call me when I don't even live in the damn state.
Okay.
It's gonna piss me off.
You're a deputy sheriff?
Well, I mean, I work at the sheriff's office.
Okay.
So, I mean, what?
Were you a corrections officer for
Yeah.
the sheriff's office? Okay. Why do you wear a vest outside of the facility?
You know,
Is this an
I mean,
agency
this is-
vehicle, or is this your personal vehicle?
this is my Kia.
Body camera evidence indicated that the cops who first saw Jones were rightly perplexed and distrustful, as off-duty law enforcement officials wearing uniforms in public is unusual. The guidelines for employee personnel appearance, as stated on the official government website of Oklahoma City, do not specifically prohibit cops from wearing uniforms when not on duty. However, it can be suggested based on the standards for appropriate badge display, which indicate that badges should not be prominently shown while the employee is off-duty. It seems obvious that wearing a uniform as an off-duty police officer would be discouraged as well. Jones was questioned for verification of his claim to be a sheriff, and he falsely stated that his department did not give any documents to validate his position.
I understand that. I didn't understand what's going on.
And you got alcohol in the vehicle.
Well, it's not mine.
Well, that's beside the point.
It's my girlfriend's.
But-
And I don't drink, so...
Well, it doesn't matter. You realize transporting open container, if any of that's opened, will partially missing, that it doesn't matter whose it is. If you're in the vehicle with it, you can be arrested for transporting open container.
Well, I mean, like I said, it's not. I literally, it's not mine, man. She bought it. She lives up there in Luther.
Have you ever heard the phrase of when guys get hemmed up for drugs in their pockets and they say these pants aren't mine? You realize how stupid that is.
Okay. But
So let's stop saying it, all right?
I understand. I'm not
Okay.
trying to cause any problem. I just want to go on my way.
The cop was watching what was going on when he saw an open bottle of alcohol in Mr. Jones's car. When this was brought to Mr. Jones's attention, he said it wasn't his, but the officer said it didn't matter who owned the alcohol because Mr. Jones would be charged with an open container violation if it was found in his car. After this conversation, the officer was worried about the sheriff's patch on Mr. Jones's bulletproof vest. He stressed that Mr. Jones was neither a sheriff nor had the power to make arrests. Also, the officer said that their drinking habits didn't matter, and he emphasized that carrying an open bottle, no matter who owned it, could get them arrested if it was found in their car.
So did you get out of your car or something here in the parking lot?
Okay, I got out of the car.
Yeah.
There was a truck that he looked at me, and that's all I did. I never said anything like law enforcement wise or nothing. He looked at me and he was laughing, so I just like go to his car, and I was like, "Did you eat me or something like that?" That's it, and I just like walked away.
Okay.
The second cop on the scene asked Mr. Jones about the person who was said to be in a truck that Mr. Jones had stopped a few minutes earlier. This person would later be very important to the way things turned out. Mr. Jones said that the person had been looking at him, so he went up to the person and asked what was going on. It's important to note that Mr. Jones's version of what happened was very different from what the department heard, which was that Mr. Jones had pulled people over with bright lights.
See if he'll give us a contact number for a supervisor at work or something. I'm gonna shut this other door.
No, if you have contact information for a supervisor. I wouldn't worry about the jail thing right now.
I really don't want to jail. With the beer part, like I said, that it's not in my possession, right?
It is in your possession. It's in your car.
By you owning the vehicle, it being in your vehicle, and it sitting beside you, that is considered possession. I understand that.
And I've got,
I'm gonna try.
I mean,
we're trying to work with you.
I know.
Mr. Jones gave the cop permission to search his car and said that he didn't have any problems with it. As a protection for the safety of the cops involved, the officer asked Mr. Jones to get out of his car and take off his ballistic vest. After this request, Mr. Jones was put in the back of a police car while the two officers who were already there looked into what was going on.
All right, tell me exactly what you just said.
Because he was dressed like a cop.
Yeah.
He had a sheriff thing, but it had sheriff written on the side right.
Right.
And I live on 62 off of Adam Road. He was sitting in a driveway
251.
right beside 62 Highway. And I pulled up and I was staring at him because he was in a kind of cockeyed.
As the officers continued their investigation, the subject who had initially made the 911 call pulled over in close proximity to them. They engaged in a conversation with the officers, and the entire interaction was recorded on their body cameras. It is worth highlighting that the sequence of events recounted by Mr. Jones differed significantly from the story provided by the subject.
Yeah, I already know I'm going to jail.
All right. Turn around and face the other way. Put your hand behind your back. You're under arrest for impersonating law enforcement, all right? And then you also have a charge for transporting an open container.
Oh, my girlfriend could pick up my phone.
Not at this time.
You know how long I'm going to be in jail because I'm from PC?
Okay.
Based on what the subject had said up to this point, it was clear that Mr. Jones had been pretending to be a police officer and had committed a major crime. The police now had a lot of proof that these claims were true. So the officers did what they needed to do and arrested Mr. Jones for the crime of pretending to be a law enforcement officer. They also told Mr. Jones that he would be charged for having an open container on him. Now, let's move on to the next story.
Oh, Mike.
Good, how y'all doing?
Yeah, she was the driver. He was in the pickup truck. It's all the same.
Not hurt or anything?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Need your license, registration, insurance?
That's it.
155 Berkeley, 28 West Virginia. Ocean 9 V Victor 311. Ocean 9 V Victor 311. Split on a silver in color Lexus. Yeah. Oh. That's silver or tan?
Silver.
Okay. I was going crazy for a minute.
Yeah.
I'm good if y'all
You're good. We're good, man.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, it's up one.
Hey, thanks too. How y'all relate to each other?
We're just friends.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm actually driving that truck right there.
On January 6, 2023, Deputy William Henderson from the Berkeley County Sheriff's Office was sent to a traffic accident. A woman named Carrie Harmon was driving when she hit a low stone wall and used a concrete block to knock over 3 fence posts, a mailbox, and a bush. As seen on video from Deputy Henderson's body camera, the Berkeley Fire Department was the first to arrive at the scene. Even though Miss Harmon didn't seem hurt, she slurred her words and moved slowly. This wasn't a big deal at the time, but it continued throughout the meeting, as we'll see.
Greatest emergency seeking off, however, we do not locate her name attached to any of the cats.
One 14, 137. You make contact with
Still, Deputy Henderson asked Miss Harmon if she had a favorite tow truck company. She said that her father, Nathan Harmon, would take care of the problem. Nathan Harmon is a Berkeley County sheriff, which suggests that Miss Harmon may be depending on her father's power and influence to stay out of trouble. We'll talk about this a little more later. Then Deputy Henderson went to his police car to check Miss Harmon's pass through dispatch. After being inside for a few minutes, he came out and gave her a sheet asking for a written statement about the traffic accident. One thing that stands out about this situation is how unconcerned Deputy Henderson seems to be about the traffic accident. He did not directly ask about the details of what happened, nor did he look into the situation fully. Even though Miss Harmon showed signs that she might have been drunk, no one thought anything of it.
Is your neighbor's home, you think? Or?
I think she's home. She's a nurse.
Okay.
I went over there after I got phone 911.
Okay.
Knocking on the door, ringing her doorbell. But I haven't gotten an answer. She's a nurse, I think, in Winchester.
Okay.
So I don't know if she's...
Yeah, I just gotta leave her some
here.
information, that's all. So I see the vehicle, but, so.
Yeah, that's the one she regularly drives.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
At this point, Deputy Henderson went to the Berkeley County Sheriff's Office and got a digital camera. Officers often use these cameras to take pictures of accident scenes to go along with the written accounts from patients or witnesses. Deputy Henderson did a good job with many of his duties, but he forgot to find out if Miss Harmon was at fault for the accident or if she was drunk, which were both important parts of the investigation. Continuing with the incident, Deputy Henderson walked up to Miss Harmon's car as she was finishing her written statement. The two talked briefly about what happened. During this talk, Miss Harmon made a claim that a deer might have been involved. She said she either veered into the wall while trying to miss the deer or hit the deer on the right side of her car.
This should have hit me. I'm telling you. For it to look like that, it's got to hit me. I saw them up on the right-hand side, and I'm like, oh, no. It's either swerve or you hit it.
Oh, man. You don't watch stuff because you got open shoes on. Oh, can you sign that down the bottom for me?
What's that?
I just need you to sign it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
If you can just put a date on there.
I got you.
When Miss Harmon used her broken windshield to back up her story, Deputy Henderson quickly shined his flashlight on it, but he didn't see any signs that a deer had hit the car. This made people wonder how a deer could have gotten away from the accident without getting hurt or leaving any blood. Deputy Henderson seemed to have the same doubts when he stopped for a moment to look at the window, but he decided not to ask Miss Harmon any more questions about her questionable claim. Instead, he looked around the car and made some notes. At this point, Sheriff Harmon showed up, and things started to get strange and hard to believe. Sheriff Harmon tells Deputy Henderson that there is something he needs to look at inside Miss Harmon's car. Without saying anything, Deputy Henderson gives Sheriff Harmon his lantern and lets him come up to the car and get in. South Carolina law says that what Sheriff Harmon did could be considered messing with evidence, which is a very bad thing to do. To make matters worse, Sheriff Harmon asked Deputy Henderson if his daughter was inebriated, to which Deputy Henderson reacted with laughter, indicating that it did not appear so. Subsequently, Miss Harmon's vehicle was towed away and the scene was cleared. The investigation concluded that Miss Harmon had failed to exercise caution while negotiating a turn, and she received a warning for her careless driving. However, the situation took a concerning turn when portions of a Snapchat video shared on Facebook showed Miss Harmon expressing gratitude for her father's presence at the scene, implying that Sheriff Harmon may have intervened in the investigation to protect his daughter from the consequences of driving under the influence. In response to these suspicions, Sheriff Harmon issued a statement a few days later, claiming that he responded to the scene purely to ensure his daughter's well-being and denying any interference or direction given to the investigating officer. The official report released by Deputy Henderson did not indicate any suspicions of drug or alcohol use, and Ms. Harmon's driver condition was deemed normal without any effort to confirm her fitness to drive. Notably, the report did not support Ms. Harmon's claims of a deer strike, contradicting her written statement that she was following a car when she was hit by a deer on her right passenger side. And now comes our third story. In this story, a group of children in Lorain, Ohio were subjected to police harassment on the excuse of jaywalking. However, further investigations proved that the event was staged by the police officers involved. On February 15, 2023, a 16-year-old kid and his cousin, and a friend, crossed West 27th Street and made their way to the boys' residence. An unmarked police car containing a Lorain police officer and an agent from the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives drew up to the scene, according to surveillance video from the family security camera. The cops attempted to converse with the lads, but they already were inside the residence and the officers were unable to make contact. Mary Hildreth, the 16-year-old's mother, watched the incident from the front door and approached the cops to inquire about the issue. Notably, the kid showed no symptoms of escaping the cops, instead quietly entering the house when the car arrived. This particular element becomes important as the situation progresses. The cameras get a clear picture of the cops coming and of Miss Hildreth's first talk with one of them. The video makes it clear that Miss Hildreth asked the cops what was worrying them, and they told her to bring the boys outside so they could talk.
I'm still in the window as he's halfway through the yard coming in here. This car flies up out of nowhere. Don't say nothing. As I'm already down here, they're jumping out, getting ready to run around the house. I come to the door and say, what's going on? We want the boys to run out. I said, my son, what's the problem? He's a minor. We got to talk to him. I said, what is the problem? It's a traffic violation. I said, what do you mean? Can I have your name back? Then he's screaming and yelling. I said, you don't have to scream and yell at me. I'm an adult. That is my son. What did he do wrong?
After conversing with the officers on the scene, the supervisor returned to Miss Hildreth, exposing the dishonesty of the officers. Initially, they had claimed to stop the boys for a minor jaywalking violation, but now the supervisor implied that their true motive was suspicion of firearms due to the boys playing with their waistbands. The surveillance footage ended, and the verbal exchange between the supervisor and Miss Hildreth continued. It became evident that the officers realized their mistake and hastily fled the scene in their patrol vehicles without issuing any jaywalking tickets. This incident revealed that the officers simply wanted to harass the boys using the guise of neighborhood safety. Sadly, Miss Hildreth was unjustly charged with obstructing official business, a charge she vowed to fight in court.